The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of WBGR Network. Any questions or concerns about what is said should be directed to the show host, whose information will be provided upon request.
Good morning, everybody. You are watching Charlotte Black Live Morning Coffee. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm your host, Charlotte Black. How is everybody doing today? So as you can see, well, you can't see, I always start this way, but I'm flying solo today, which is cool. My teammates all had other things they needed to take care of, and hey, that happens sometimes. I've been telling you guys since I started this show that this is a real world show. We don't fake, we don't front. Well, we try not to fake or front, right? No, honestly, I try to present things just the way they are because that's the way life happens. Sometimes we're late. Sometimes we have other things that take priority. Everybody got to eat, right? Sometimes, things come up. So it's all good. And it almost works out perfectly because it kind of segues into the topic for today, which is nurturing the dead. So one of the things that we're going to talk about is how sometimes we just have to fly solo. You know what I mean? Everybody's got their own journey, Everybody may not look at it that way, but every single individual person has their own particular journey. And sometimes other people don't understand your journey. And when that happens, you find moments in your life or on your journey where you're flying solo. Because as we grow, the things that don't grow with us kind of fall away. And so, lending to that, you'll find yourself moving forward. And it was like you were like this, right? You had your whole crew right here. But as you start moving forward on your path, you start noticing that it gets slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. And before you know it, you're by yourself. Now, in no way am I trying to say I'm alone on this path. I'm not. But it just demonstrates that sometimes you have to stand on your own, stand in your own truth, stand in your own courage, and just do what you got to do. Carry the load, because sometimes that's just what it is. So I embrace this moment, and I'm excited. I hope you're excited. It's a good topic this morning. So first, of course, I have to tell a story because that's what I do. I tell stories. So when we were on vacation, so I think it was like 2 weekends ago, Vince hosted the show with 2 other guests. And I was out of town that weekend. And while we were out of town, I think we were on our way to, where were we going? The falls, Niagara Falls. And, we're sitting on the bus and everything. And got earrings on, everything, And, again, I was with Diane and Diane. And Diane number 2, I must have been pulling at my ear or something like that. And Diane number 2 says, "What's the matter? Why you keep, pulling at your ear?" And I'm like, I was like, "Girl, my earring is bothering me." And she was like, "So why don't you take it off?" And what's really funny about that is that seems like the simple solution, right? Like, just take the earring off if it hurts. No, I hadn't even thought about taking the earring off. Because for me, and it was a very rudimentary question. It was very simple. Like, if somebody takes you to the top of a hill, drops you off, and they leave, what do? You walk down. This seems so simple, but in the moment when you get caught up in your head, right? Or if you're in your head, whether it's for whatever reason, you sometimes don't see the obvious. So that's what happened to me in this case, right? I promise you this is going somewhere. So I didn't take the clip off. Instead, I was sitting there enduring the pain because I liked the way the earrings made me look, the way they complemented the way my hair was styled and what I had on. So because I liked the way it looked on the outside, I was enduring pain on the inside. And when you look at it like that, it's like, that is so stupid. It's just silly. It's just silly. But this is what happens. Now, the reason why I'm this way, right? And so I kind of, when I was trying to come up with the topic and this story kind of came to me, and I was like, I wonder why I'm like that. So all of my life, right? I've always wanted pierced earrings, pierced ears. And my mother pierced my ears the first time. And I want to say, I think we were in Germany. And I'm not really even sure what happened, but it didn't work out. They closed up. So then probably when we got back stateside, I was a little bit older, probably in high school or junior high or something like that. She pierced them again. She got them pierced again because, I was bugging her. Come on, Mommy, I want my ears pierced. So, and they didn't really have a lot of, I don't think they really had a lot of clips at first, like clip earrings. So, at least not cute ones. So, so then my mom got my ears pierced when I was a teenager, and then they keloided, and oh Lord, she was done. She was like, you're not getting no more pierced ears because you got the keloid skin. I had to go to the doctor, have surgery, had the earlobe scrape, all of that. It was drama, right? Okay. So then, years and years later, 10, whatever, however many years it was, right? As an adult, I said, you know what? My ears are fine. They're regular. There's no keloid on them. I'm going to go get my ears pierced. So I did. I got my ears pierced. I really think that might have lasted me like a week or so. No, that's a lie. It lasted me longer than that. Probably, I don't know. I would say a year. I'm going to stretch and say a year. Anyway, what ended up happening is, I was sitting around one day and I just touched the bottom of my ear, like the earring like that. It split right through my ear. That was my story, that I was never wearing earrings. I would never wear those clips again. Anyway, because I've had so many issues with the earrings, right? I love earrings, and I think that it makes my whole outfit. So I have this thing with almost trying to make myself be able to wear earrings. So because I have this, and it's fueled by something else, like a little boy saying I look like a boy when my mom cut my hair short or whatever, earrings has kind of been like my safety net. And so it's something I'm comfortable with. I'm not comfortable when I don't have earrings on. It takes me out of a kind of comfort zone. And because of that, on the bus, not even thinking about it, I was willing to sit in pain with these earrings on because of that history and those past experiences. So I say all of that, good people, to say this is what we're talking about. We're talking about when we keep ourselves in self-imposed prisons, or we are self-imposed prisons that cause us pain. The title, which is Nurturing the Dead, is investing emotionally in something that no longer serves us, something that was dead a long time ago, but we still continue to invest emotion into it, thinking that we can revive it. Some people don't even want to revive it. They're there for other reasons. Some people don't even realize they're in it. Some people stay because they're afraid. Some people stay because leaving is uncomfortable. Whatever it is, not necessarily a person. It just could be it could just be a situation, whether it's work, You know, home, love, you know, whatever it is. It's about nurturing something we've outgrown, nurturing something that, you know, no longer serves us. And quite frankly, what happens in that is when we hold on to something that no longer serves us, it creates an environment of toxicity over time, and it's just not, it's not healthy. It's not emotionally healthy, and you know that your emotions affect everything else. It becomes physically unhealthy. I mean, it's just, it's not good. You know, you wouldn't let your trash sit in your house, right? You done threw some old meat in there. You done cleaned out the refrigerator, right? You took all your stuff out your refrigerator. Do it in trash. You got meat and cheese and all that stuff. And you throw it in this trash can, right? And it's like throwing the food in the trash and not taking it out. You leave it there for weeks. Can you imagine? Ew, right? It's funky. It's stanking up the place all through the house. Now, I may start in the kitchen. It's going to be a little yuck in the kitchen. You walk in, ugh. You know what I mean? Or, you know, you don't notice it because you're in it all the time. Because you know how that happens, right? You're at home and you don't even know your trash is smelling, right? If there's something in there. Not because you've left it on, but you put something in there. And you don't even know it's smelling until you walk outside and you come back in. You can smell it right at the front door. You're like, oh my God, what is that? And then so you go to the trash immediately. You recognize it's the trash. It's spoiled. It's rotten. You got to take this out. You got to get it out of here. Because otherwise, it's going to stink up the whole house. This is what I'm talking about. The same analogy applies to these situations that we, and I've done it. I'm thinking most people have done it. These situations we've stayed in that we weren't comfortable, that no longer served us, but we stayed because it was comfortable. That is what the topic is about this morning. It's real funny. Years ago, when one of my kids, they were teenager, and they were in a relationship, and I think of my daughter, she was dating this guy. I think they broke up or whatever, and she was telling me, she was like, Mom, you know, he said, you know, I want to break up, but we could still be friends. She looked at me and she said, I told him, that's like saying your dog died, but you can still keep him. You know what I mean? So, and no disrespect to animal lovers, because, you know, I like animals too. But I can understand that. You know, if your pet dies, it's something that you love. Even if you love it, most people are not going to keep the pet. They're going to, of course, you know, bury it and say their goodbyes, bury it in the ground and walk on and move on. Well, in this, there are situations where we don't do that in other areas of our life. We don't do that. We don't look at it the same way. So I'm just trying to give you a different perspective on, you know, staying in relationships that no longer serve you, staying in situations that no longer serve you. We're going to talk about how to let go, what letting go means, what it doesn't mean. And I think I had found an article on Psychology Today about how to let go. So we're going to talk about when to know to let go, what letting go is, and then how to let go. So that's what we're getting into this morning. I am really, really excited because, you know, this is a topic that I think it plagues a lot of people. I think so. We get so comfortable. You know what I mean? We get so comfortable where we are, even when we know we should leave. And it really takes a lot of courage to walk away from a situation. And for some people, that seems perfect. It seems like a perfectly good situation. But we have to walk away because we know that it's not serving us. And it's so funny because everybody around you, like in my mind, right, you got two teams. You got the chessboard. You got the one on one side and the one on the other side, the casualty laying down, right? And one side table is going, what's the problem? Like, this is the perfect situation. You need to snap out of it and get yourself together and come on, let's do this thing. Stop tripping. On the other side of the table, you know, you got your crew, your boys, your friends, whoever, people that know you well, your family. They're saying, this is sucking the life out of you. Like you're not even your original, yourself. You're not being yourself. You can't even be who you are. In this relationship or in this situation, your shine is gone. You know what I mean? Like it drains you when you're in something that you really don't want to be in. You know what I mean? That does not feed you. It drains you. It really just, and it starts to physically show on you too. Like you get dark in the face and oh God, it's just, I have been there. So I know. You know, because you're in your head, right? You hear everybody. And so you're playing these scenarios out in your head. You're thinking about money. You're thinking about the guilt. You're thinking about every single thing except yourself. You're thinking about what so-and-so's gonna say, how so-and-so gonna make it, how so-and-so gonna react, with all these different things you got going on, and you're thinking about every single solitary person except yourself most times. And in those cases, that's the thing you should be thinking about first and foremost. And I know that sounds like selfish, right? A lot of people are saying, that's selfish. You got to think about the other people. No, ma'am, no, sir. No, ma'am, no, sir. We have all been placed here to live our own journeys. We've talked about this on the show, on previous shows. It is not your job to make anyone else happy. It is your job to make yourself happy. If you are happy, you emit this joyful energy that everyone around you can feel. And you know I'm telling the truth. So like if you walk in a room, right? And I'm sure you have. You walked in a room and you just get this sense, like you know how people say you can cut the tension with a knife? That's your vibration. You're picking up on their vibration, their energy. So what I'm saying to you is the same applies in these situations. You're stuck in a situation. You think that you're doing the best thing. Let's just take an example. Everybody knows this. When you stay in a marriage or you stay in a relationship for the kids, right? And everybody's like, nah, I gotta do it for the kids, you know, because I want them to see a happy mother and father relationship. I want us to be a family. But are you really a family if in your heart of hearts you are hating to be there? Do you really seriously think that you're not giving off that vibe? Kids are not stupid. They are not. Kids are very, very smart. And they pick up on tension, just like we pick up on tension when we walk in a room. They pick up on tension. They pick up on imbalance. They pick up on all these things. So at the end of the day, I think the most that we can do if we really want to serve ourselves is we have to be, first of all, honest with ourselves. We have to recognize what's happening. And we kind of have to embrace our truth and then communicate and stand in that truth. It's difficult. It is tough. It really is tough, especially when you've been with someone for a long time. Now, let me just pause for a moment. I'm not advocating everybody go out and get a divorce. Okay, that's not what this is about. You know when you're just not happy because there's something you guys haven't talked about, but you know deep down, like you love who you're with. You love your situation. You don't love elements of your situation. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about when you're in a situation that completely drains you. It emotionally depletes you. You're very unhappy in the situation. You're not getting fed. You are not growing. There's a quote, the only thing in life that's constant is change. So if we aren't growing, that's something we need to address. And these are the things I'm talking about. I'm talking about those situations where you're stuck in a situation and you can't breathe in it. So, okay. So, excuse me. What we're going to do is we are going to, I think I'm going to go to commercial break. I just had a thought though, before we do that. Sometimes, right? Sometimes, you guys, we have to abandon old mindsets to embrace new paradigms. And I'll explain that when we come back from the break. All right. See you in a few minutes.
Hello and welcome back to another Breakfast Mojo. I'm your host, Comedian Koi, and we're about to eat some breakfast. So come on, follow me. It's already set up. This is what I heard, so I have no idea what's expected. All I know is it's breakfast food, so let's see what it is. I have no idea what it is, folks. No idea. No idea. Here we go. Oh, wow, look at this. Legends. Okay. They got the thing all set up here. It's chicken and grill. So we're going to see what the chicken is right now on the Breakfast Mojo. What do we have here? Chicken. And what else do we have here? Okay, waffles. Okay. So the chicken kind of threw me off because I'm like, it's breakfast. Hello, this is a Breakfast Mojo. Chicken and waffles. Got my syrup here. Should have been blindfolded when I was doing this breakfast, so but let's see what it's like here. Wow, looks good. It cuts easily. Got a little white powder on it. Some butter. Okay, here we go. All right, let's see what it's looking like. At least you could have had the fork and the knife match each other. You know what I'm saying? But it's okay. Let's see what it's like here. Here we go. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Let's see what the chicken is like here. Got, some of y'all are saying, why don't you just pick it up and eat the thing? You know what I'm saying? Okay, here we go. So we got the... Very basic. Nothing fantastic. I wonder if I can do 2 reviews. One for the chicken and one for the waffle. I actually like the waffle. I think the waffle is very good. The waffle is the batter is very, what do you say? A little bit on the sugar side. The chicken, on the other hand, could be a lot better. I'm not really happy with the chicken as much. I don't think the chicken actually makes the waffle any better. I think the waffle actually complements the chicken. You know what I'm saying? So for my review, I will say breakfast brilliant for the waffle and breakfast blah for the chicken, if I were to do it separately. So that's all the review that we have. Thank you so much for tuning in. Look, what is your favorite waffle place? Do you have a chicken and waffle spot that you normally go to that you can recommend? If you do, write it in the comment. Let folks know, okay? Don't forget to subscribe. Breakfast Mojo. Take care.
All right, guys, we're back. So let's just jump right into it. Okay, so we were talking about when we went to break, right before the break, abandoning old mindsets to embrace new paradigms. So basically, that's just saying letting go of certain attitudes so that we can embrace new concepts. For example, let's see, I know I have a story in here somewhere. Let's see. Perfect example. Now I was in college. I had these 2 girlfriends. One was my roommate, one real good friend of mine. We were like the 3 Musketeers. We always went places together. Anyway, Antoinette and I were from the West Coast, and Rosalind lived in South. And one day we were in the cafeteria, the CAF as we called it at Grambling State University. We were in the CAF, and they were serving cabbage. And we had gotten, because in college, right, at least when I was in college, they have different time slots you can go have dinner. They're open from, I don't know, 3 to 6 or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, we ended up catching the late dinner. And so as the lady was putting cabbage on our plates, Rosalind says, Teasy, that's what she called Antoinette. Teasy, well, you can't eat that cabbage. It's late. You know, if you eat cabbage after 7 o'clock, you'll die. And I know some of you guys are like, well, what? I'm serious. And she was not playing. Like, she was really, really serious. So we get our food. And of course, it's bordering 7 o'clock. And at 7:01, I look at, Antoinette, and she looks at me, and we just start killing that cabbage. And, Rosalind was, she was mortified. She was like, oh my God, y'all gonna die. Oh my God. She was really concerned. It was a more lighthearted, but she was kind of concerned. She wasn't sure. So, the next morning, sure enough, she was over at our dorm early in the morning, knocking on the door. And we opened the door. She's like, oh my God, she goes on to this big thing about she's so happy we made it, that kind of thing. Now I've dramatized it a little bit, but the story is true, right? The point is, it forced her to embrace a new concept, right? What she didn't realize, how that thought came into being is, back in the day, they didn't have a refrigeration. Times were a little bit different. So after a certain time, maybe they didn't eat certain foods after a certain time because it could be poisonous because you've left it out, those kinds of things. But now we have refrigeration, things are not the same anymore. So somebody probably back in the day ate some cabbage after 7, but the cabbage had been left out since 70 the previous day, and they got sick and they died. So from that, somebody in there interpreted that if you eat cabbage after 7 o'clock, you'll die. And they've been passing that on and on and on and on. They've been carrying that old thought, that old mindset forward every generation. So until we proved to her that you can eat cabbage after 7 o'clock and not die, because there's refrigeration, but you can't leave it out. We have refrigerators now. So that's kind of an example of abandoning an old mindset to embrace a new thought paradigm. Okay. So, what is letting go? What does that really mean? Right? What is letting go? Let's see. I got some quotes on here. First, let me read this by Carl Jung. This is a part of the Psychology Today article, which I will put the information down in the description box. Carl Jung said, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. There is a lesson in that for all of us. Try to let go of whatever it is that's holding you back from experiencing yourself. You'll probably realize that you are not what other people say you are. Now, it is so true. This statement is so true, which is the reason why I wanted to make sure that I read it and gave it some attention. I've had some girlfriends that say, girl, I know you. You do this and you do that and you do that. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not sure that you do, but I'm going to just just ride with it. Or people will say, we're just alike, or, I know you better than you know yourself. That is the most ridiculous comment I have ever heard in my life. No one, and I mean no one, can know you better than yourself. They cannot, because they can't hear what's going on in your mind. They don't know the real motivations behind the things that you do. The only way a person knows you is if you tell them. They don't know what you're thinking unless you tell them. And we're even biased, right, in what we tell people. So when you think you really, 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 really know someone, you may, but you don't know them better than they know themselves. That's my point on that. Letting go. Okay, let's talk about letting go. Letting go means leaving something you've been holding on to for so long. It means to move on from a stagnant part of your life. It is not an easy thing to do, especially when it comes to relationships and things that you hold dear or you value a lot. especially if you've invested, again, like we said earlier, a lot of time. Letting go means having full awareness of where you are and what you're doing in the present moment. Letting go can mean letting the world be what it is rather than what you think it ought to be. It means not taking yourself so seriously. For just a second, I want to go back to that. When we talk about letting the world be what it is rather than what we think it ought to be, a lot of times we try to shape our outcomes, and we try to control the way things go in our world, right? We want people to act a particular way. We want them to do a particular thing. And we have specific actions or things that we do to try to push them in that direction if we're trying not to be detected, or we're real bold with it if we don't care if we're detected. But we try to shape things the way we want them to be. Letting go means letting that go. Allowing things to be the way that they are. Oh my God, I gotta speed real fast because I don't want so-and-so to get there before I get there and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. That's trying to control the outcome, right? Because you're trying to hurry and rush everybody because you want some particular outcome. If you let the outcome go, you're not rushing everybody. It's like, we gonna get there exactly when we're supposed to get there. If we beat them there, fine. If we don't, fine. That's an example of letting go and not kind of trying to control the outcome. This is what they're talking about. And not taking yourself so seriously. So I have to tell a story. And I don't want to say the name. She's so sweet. And she watches my show. And we work together. And I just love her. She is one of the sweetest people I've ever met. She is so sweet. But I can see her, even in the short time that we've been on this job, I see her kind of standing into her power, coming into her own. I've watched, I can see it. It's an amazing transformation to see right before you. Anyway, something happened at work. And she was, something didn't go right. She's trying to make something. She's trying to make some deadline, or she made a promise to somebody or told somebody she was going to do something. And because of circumstances beyond her control, she couldn't deliver. So she becomes really emotional about it. I mean, like, she wasn't screaming and yelling, acting crazy like that, but I could feel it. She was tense and, oh my God, I can't believe this. And, oh, what am I going to do? And she was just going on. I can't believe I did this. And I don't know if I did this. And she took the situation so seriously. Like, she could not focus. And anyway, at the end of the day, she finds out there's nothing that she could have done. She's not the one that did it. It was really on someone else. But in that moment where she was so stressed out, she allowed that situation to suck her energy right out of her. Just suck all the positive. She allowed it to deplete her emotionally. And, I tried to say, it's really not that serious. Don't even trip. It's going to be fine. And she gave me that look. I was like, all right, let me just be quiet. Then I'm sit right over here. And I ain't saying nothing. And lo and behold, right, she finds out that it wasn't even on her. But that's what we mean by taking ourselves so seriously. Like, oh my God, I messed up. I'm an idiot. That's horrible. Stop that. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. If you're doing that, stop it. That's negative self-talk. It's hurtful. It's hurtful to yourself. You're going to cut all that out. You got to stop that. We're not going to do that. I told my son that when he was a young boy, he mess up. I'm stupid. I would go off in the house. Like, we ain't doing that. You ain't stupid. Who told you that? Where you get that from? No, I can't. That is one of my pet peeves. I cannot stand that. But most of the time what we think is serious really doesn't even matter. Like in the moment it seems like a big deal, but if you just take a deep breath and breathe through it, you at the end of the day it resolves itself. Stop trying to control the outcome. Just resolve it. Don't be afraid. Just take a deep breath, let it go, and say, okay, well, let's just see where this goes. And you'll find that it puts you in a better energy and headspace. Okay, moving on. Letting go does not mean you stop caring about someone. It means you understand things are out of your control. It doesn't mean someone else is to blame. It means that you're honoring who you are and ultimately honoring who they are and where they are in the moment. It allows them to face their realities, allows them to face and shape their own realities. And then that's without you trying to arrange a particular outcome for them so that they fit into your world or this world you want. So letting go is not really a denial of anything. It's an acceptance, right? So most of the time, by the time we get to the point where we need to let go, whatever it is we're holding on to is already kind of dead. It's already lifeless, right? And that's where the topic nurturing the dead comes from. I think that's even in the Bible, but I don't know the exact scripture. It says, let the dead be dead. Let the dead be dead. And, a lot of times we over there, it's like breathing mouth to mouth on somebody that's gone, that's been gone for a long time, and they still there. And you're trying to, every day, you try to breathe life into it. If it's over, it's just over. If it's lifeless, it's lifeless. And I know I'm talking about it, I know it seems like I'm being so cavalier about it, and I'm not, because I understand how difficult that can be. I've been through it. You have a situation, again, that seems normal. It seems, you're like, well, I can work with this, is what you say. I can work with this. And on the outside looking in, it looks like the perfect situation. But internally, this thing is tearing you to pieces. Like, why they can't just do things like this? Or why can't they just do things like that? Like, I wish I had somebody who could at least do this. That's trying to shape an outcome. That's trying to make them be who you want them to be. It's not fair. It's not fair to yourself. It's not fair to them. We all have the right to be who we are. We do. A lot of times, especially in this day and age, right? We find ourselves connecting with people for the wrong reasons. And everything looks good on the surface. Like everything looks good in the beginning. Oh, this is the bomb. This is going to last forever. But then it doesn't. And we start realizing that what we invested in, what we counted on, was not really something that could sustain us. And as time moves on, it just starts deteriorating. It starts going just like that. And before you know it, you like this. And that's just the reality. Now, of course, this is not everybody's situation, right? Again, I'm speaking to a specific situation. It does not, it may not apply to you right now. It may have applied to you a long time ago. So I just want to be clear. There are multiple sides to a story. I'm talking about a particular side. So anyway, let's move on. So let's talk about the article. Okay. So the article is 12 tips. Or wait, first I think I forgot to. Oh, when to know to let go. That's where we want to go first. Okay. So when to know to let go. When your needs are not being met and you're not happy in the situation. But first and foremost, and I have this bolded and didn't even see it. When you cannot be who you truly are in the situation, you feel restricted. That's the number one telltale. That's the number, we just talked about it, right? You don't want someone trying to tell you who you should be, how you should dress, where you should go, how you should act. You don't want someone telling you that. You want the freedom to be whoever you are and be loved for that person. And you deserve that. We all do. You should be able to operate in your space as you are, right? You are who you are. So if you feel that you're having to hide parts of yourself, or you feel restricted, like, I'm really not even this kind of person. Like, I'd like to do this kind of stuff, but I can't because I got to focus on this. That is kind of a sign of you really can't be who you are. You can't really spread your wings and shine, because two people in a real loving relationship with a true bond, both should be able to shine and it not create conflict, not create an issue. Okay, and so another thing is, if you don't like your situation and you're only in it because you feel obligated, and the obligation is more so out of guilt. It's all about your guilt and being afraid and all that chatter going on around you about what it's going to do if you do it. That's people trying to talk you out of honoring yourself. That's my opinion. Yeah, but if you do this, then it's just this, and if you do this, you do this. In my opinion, a real friend, someone who really loves and cares about you, will say, it's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie. It's going to cause some issues, right? This your best friend. We might have to go elbow to elbow in this joint to get up out of here. But you gotta honor you. You gotta be true to yourself. And if this is not where your heart is, if you're not comfortable here, then you're gonna have to make a change, whatever that change may be. Okay. You can't see a future in the situation. You don't see any growth. You're just in the same place, doing the same thing. You're on like you're on a routine. We talked about that last week with mindfulness. You ain't mindful of nothing because you have settled into this routine and you just do the same thing. You just mindlessly moving through your life. You have no inspiration, nothing, no spark. You just, oh my God, I can't. I'm just doing this. I don't even know. It's one of those situations. That's an indication that you might need to take a second look at your situation and reevaluate where you want to go and, who you are. Because we do change over time. And that's one of the things that happens in a relationship that leads us to this point where when it's time to go, right? It's like you think to yourself, what happened? Like, we were good and then at one, we were going along, everything was straight, and then we hit this one point and it's like we split. So I don't know. I just think that's why communication is so, so important. And to really, really listen to the people that you're with, because they tell you what's going on if you're paying attention, if you are mindful. I like that. They tell you what's going on. They tell you in their complaints. They tell you in their side comments. They tell you in the looks on their face. They tell you. We just don't pay attention half the time. Why? Because we're in our routine. We're in our groove. We're in our heads. We're somewhere other than in the moment, and we miss it. We miss the cues. And it's important to pick up on those cues, because we're telling people how we feel even when we don't even sometimes realize we're telling them how we feel. Those subtle hints, like in them side conversations you have, and you need to be paying attention. And more than likely what is happening in a situation like this, the one I'm just talking about, the hints have been thrown. Direct conversations have been had, and the information has been ignored. Maybe not on purpose, maybe because either the person didn't know how to meet that need, or it's not in them to meet the need, or they feel that they're unable to, they don't want to, whatever the reason is. They didn't get it, they didn't act on it, they're not doing it, and it has created a rift. the wedge has gotten bigger. So anyway, that it's important to pay attention to communication and staying in the moment so that you can pick up on what's happening, so you can get these signs. And it's not one of those things where you're good in year 1, by year 10 you're like, I don't know what happened. So all right, let's get into the 12 tips on how to let I cannot get it together. 12 tips on how to let go so you can have personal freedom. Now, this is an article that I downloaded off of Psychology Today by Eileen Strauss Cohen. She's a doctor. So here are her tips, and we're going to talk about them a little bit. We got about 15 minutes left, so I'm going to try to get through them, guys, and provide examples where I can. Okay, so the first one she has here is understand that the relationships you thought you had, or the thought you thought you were going to have, are going to be different than the ones that you actually have. So I think we kind of touched on that. So we go into it thinking, oh, this relationship is going to be this great big thing, and we're going to do all of this stuff or whatever, and then it ends up not even being what you thought. So when you, in that moment of realization, that's something you need to look at and accept and embrace, you know, as you're weighing whether or not this is a situation you can fix or a situation you need to leave. Okay. Don't be invested in the outcome when it comes to dealing with people, because it often leads to disappointment. Oh yeah, absolutely. Expectations keep us stuck, and they keep us afraid of certain outcomes. It says here, there are no guarantees in life, and there aren't. People, we can't control the way that people feel. They're going to feel what they feel. And I think that sometimes we invest too much in the outcomes. And when the outcome, when it doesn't look like it's going that way, we try to force it. And that creates that wedge that, we were just talking about, that leads to separation. It says, don't live in chains when you have the key. That's self-explanatory. We live with self-limiting beliefs that we let define who we are. So let me just get into that just a little bit. You know, a lot of times we think I can't do this on my own. There's no way I'm going to survive. That's negative self-talk. What you think about, you bring about. Do not allow that to keep you from getting to a place of personal freedom. No one has to be or should be in an emotional prison. You don't have to be in the emotional prison. You are your own key. You know, all you got to do is just believe in yourself and know that you can do it. I'm going to tell you, there have been many, many times, especially when I was younger, where I felt like, oh man, I don't know if I could do it. I just buckled down and told myself, I can do it. I can do this. I can do it. I can do it. And sure enough, every time that I gave myself that pep talk, I got right through it. I was able to get through it. Years ago when I used to sing, every time I got on stage, it doesn't matter how many times I sang, it doesn't matter how many times people told me how phenomenal my voice was, I was nervous every single time. Am I going to forget the words? Am I going to do this? I was all in my head. Finally, you have to shut that down and be like, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do it. And I would get out there and do it. It's the same concept. Okay. Let go of the idea that you can control others' actions. We only have control over ourselves and how we act. And if you're trying to control somebody else's actions, like if you're trying to tell them who they should be or how they should behave, you probably need to check yourself. Because it is not, our experience is about us. It's not about so much the other person. So if they're making you feel like, oh no, you need to do this, it's something that you probably need to dig deeper about and find out why you feel that way. Because I will bet somewhere in that investigation, you're going to find that they're triggering you based on some old belief you have about something, whatever it is. Only worry about what you think of yourself. That gets a lot of people caught up. Thinking about what other people think. Yeah. Well, are they gonna, what if I say that? They may not, let me in, or they may not accept me in the group, or, and we compromise our truth when we worry too much about what other people think about us and what other people have to say about us. We compromise our truth. Like we try to fit in. Don't try to fit in. Just be who you are. If they can't respect you and what you have to say and what you have to say and where you stand, then let them fall away. That means that they are not for you. Don't worry about, again, being on your path alone. It happens. It happens. The people and purposes and situations that don't serve you will fall away as you grow, and the ones that do will come in. So just don't even worry about that. Just be who you are. It keeps your life in harmony too when you do that. Okay. Leave room for mistakes. That's very important. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody. So, when you're looking at this situation, a lot of times you're like, okay, well, everybody makes mistakes. But I think when it says leave room for mistakes, because we're talking about when you're stuck in a situation and you should leave and you're not leaving. So this is really applied to you. Understand that everybody makes mistakes, including you. The world is not going to end because you made this one mistake. You're not going to burn in a pit of hell or a pit of fire because you made a mistake. You made a mistake. You made a misstep. It's time to do a corrective action. Boom. That's it. That's it. That's all there is. It's human. Okay. Accept the things you cannot change. Don't take yourself too seriously. We talked about that. Do what scares you. I got to read this one. Fear holds us back from doing a lot of things because it closes our minds to possibilities for our future and locks us into our comfort zone. Most fears fill us with doubt and what ifs that imprison us. The more you do to get out of your comfort zone, the more the fear will subside. In life, do what scares you, and you'll grow and succeed. That is an amazing. Like, I need to put a star. Oh, throwing the pen, y'all. I'm gonna put a star by that, because that is, even for, I know for me personally, I have found myself doing what scares me. In fact, I got a story, y'all. So there's somebody who I've known for a very long time, right? They've been in my life for as long as I can remember. And they had just constantly been on my mind, been on my mind. And I got to this point where I'm like, I really need to say this thing. I need to speak my truth. I really need to speak it. And I kept, hemming and hawing about it, because I'm like, ooh, how are they going to take it? Are we going to be friends still? I don't know what they're going to do. I'm scared. I'm so scared. I don't want to be, I just wasn't sure of their reaction. Right. And finally I just said, bump it. I'm going to do it. I'm standing in my truth. I can't be getting all on the TV telling people to stay and stand in their truth, and I'm not standing in mine. That's hypocritical to me. So I'm like, no, I'm doing it. When I tell you, as I was sending my message, I was, oh my God, I was mortified. I think I had like 2 drinks. I was mortified. I was like, oh my God, yep, I'm doing it. Because for me, it was real. It was real, it was true, and I meant every single word. Even though after I hit send, I was like, oh my God, can I take it back? I need to take it back. But I couldn't. I stood in that was in that moment. In that moment, I stood in my truth and I did the daggone thing, and I'm glad that I did it now. Because afterwards, like, all of those thoughts went away. It just kind of was gone. And I felt empowered because I said what I felt was real, and it felt amazing. So do what scares you. Do what scares you. I mean, within reason. Don't nobody go jumping off no cliffs and no foolishness like that. You know what I'm talking about. I mean, unless you got a parachute or something like that. I mean, if that's your thing. But, basically it's talking about we allow fear to keep us from doing the things we need to do. Sometimes we just need to face that fear and stand in our truth and move that way. So that's basically what that's communicating. Okay, number 10, express what works for you. Find your voice and share with others what you're thinking and feeling in a rational way. If you continue to communicate with others what works for you and doesn't work for you, you'll no longer be bottling up emotions. So again, that links back to the communication piece we talked about. Just speaking your truth. Like, listen when someone is speaking to you and speak your truth. Don't try to stand down because you don't know how they're going to respond. That's not your business. It's not your business to control how they respond. Your role, your business is you. Your business is to say how you're feeling. Now, that don't mean cussing the people out, talking crazy to them. We don't have to talk to each other like that. Talk to a person, with love, like you love them. You know what I mean? And this doesn't necessarily mean romantic love, but agape love. Like, talk to them like they're your brother. They're your family member. That's how you talk to them. Listen, I know this is a little bit trying, but let's try to work this out. A good example of that is a girlfriend of mine and I have been butting heads. And we never really say anything. We just kind of, push through it and move on. But finally one day, we were sitting down and she was like, listen, we got to figure out something to do with this right here. Because otherwise, this thing ain't gonna work out. And I'm gonna tell y'all, friendships are much like relationships, like love relationships. I mean, it's like a marriage, I should say. It's like a marriage when you have really good friends and you want to keep them in your life. It's work. It's not no easy feat, not if they're real friends. Anyway, she came and she was like, listen, we need to have this conversation. I'm like, yeah, you're right, we do. And, she had her side of the coin and I had my side of the coin. And it's like we were, it was like, she felt like I was pushing her buttons. I definitely felt like she was pushing my buttons. And we're both very strong. We both have very strong personalities. So we both standing in our truth like, well, and she like, well. So what we decided was, like a code word. When, because a lot of times we misinterpret what the other one is feeling. Like, I might say something, she may take it a certain way, but that's not how I mean it. Or I might say something, she interprets a certain way, but that's not how I mean it. So what we did was to resolve that is come up with like a code word. So when we pushing each other's buttons, we just call the code word. The other person knows just, okay, let's just stand down so that we can salvage this relationship. But this is in the situation when this is something we use because we wanted to save our relationship. We did not want it to go to the crapper. So, it was a relationship for us that was worth saving. It's not dead. It's just that we have to manage through this power thing we got going on. And, hopefully it's just a phase. So anyway, even when you're leaving, even when you're letting someone go, you need to express to them how you're feeling, what has worked, what has not worked. Because a lot of times they don't get it. And sometimes you've been telling them and telling them and telling them and telling them and telling over these years, and they just haven't seen it, or they didn't believe you. It's just a whole plethora of reasons and variables that can come into play. But anyway, this is just how to let go. And allow yourself to feel the negative emotions. Because when you do let something go, when you walk away from something, it does not feel good. You know, if somebody gives you something, when you're about to drop something, this is your first instinct. It's your first instinct is to grab it and catch it and keep it from falling. Sometimes we just need to let the ball drop. Sometimes you just need to stand in that emotion, that hurt, that pain, that grief, that loss, because it's like grieving from that situation, and just know that it is a phase that will pass, but it had to be done so that you could move on and move forward in honor and stand in your truth. So allow for those negative emotions. And then the last one is learn forgiveness. You have to learn to forgive yourself and forgive other people. Everybody can't always be our everything. And sometimes people serve their purpose in the moment, and when that moment is over, it's just over. So that's just what it is. So my time is up. I've been given the wrap up. So a quote to leave you with: letting go is not an action to be taken, but the realization that what you intend to let go has already gone. So basically, if you're seriously considering walking away from something, it's probably already dead. You know, take a deep breath, stand in your truth, do what you have to do, and seek your happiness. Love yourself and love others. All right, y'all. This has been a great show. I've enjoyed myself immensely. I will see you guys next time. And until then, have a blessed week. See you later. I think I'm still on camera.